Hey guys, so I'm actually going to be sharing a review with you guys, which, I mean, you guys know for the most part, I don't really do video reviews. That's something, the awesome Annie does, and on occasion Andy, but I'm not one to really sit here and talk about a book that I just read. It's just not something that I generally do because talking about a book, unless I'm going to do full flat out spoilers and stuff, I never really know how to wrap my mind about on what to say. But tonight, a couple of minutes ago, I finished Katie's Cross newest book, which is called Vigilante. And just so you guys know, this is probably going to have a couple of spoilers in it. So if you don't want to know what happens in this book, you should probably leave, go read it, and then come back. If you don't care, I hope you guys stay and listen to this shortish review. Well, this book is about a girl that her best friend was gang raped at a Halloween party. And everybody thought that she was getting better. Her rapist got away with it. And she ended up committing suicide. And she found her. And the next chapter starts with her best friend, whose point of view it's in. And her name is Hadley. And she's starting her senior year. And her world has been torn apart because this was her only friend that she was really close to, and she just doesn't really know how to cope. She's gone into multiple different martial arts classes to kind of channel her anger into doing something. Well, she decides over the course of the book, in the beginning of it, she decides that the 4 boys that got away with raping her friend have to pay. And that's where, the front of it states, justice, revenge, it's the same thing, right? And unfortunately, it's really not. It's not the same thing. This book really shows a lot of the misconceptions that people have about rape. I should have had a bunch of Post-its with me so I could make notes and stuff, but I know that I shared a lot of stuff. Let's see. Here's one that I shared. This is not going to be in any type of order because I was showing both stuff to Instagram and Twitter, kind of going back and forth. Let's see. This one states, let's see, what mistake? I stared at her. Was she medicated? Going off with Drew Carson, who was the main guy that raped her at that party. You've never gone off with a guy before. She knew I had. You know what I mean. You just picked the wrong guy. Okay, so this is Hadley talking to Magda, Magda was her friend that committed suicide. Was I supposed to know that? Her voice had gotten louder, and her eyes were wide as she looked at me. And I didn't pick him, he picked me, but that doesn't matter because I thought he liked me. I never thought his friends would be waiting for us. I never wanted that, Hadley. And that wasn't my fault. This one I commented about, that it wasn't Magda's fault. It wasn't Magda's fault whatsoever about her being raped. Part of this states that Hadley's talking to her mom. I know it's on here somewhere. But it states that, she should be able to walk into school stark naked with a bottle of lube and nobody should touch her. And that's the whole point. That us as women and girls, we should be able to walk down the street stark naked and not have one person touch us, man or woman. You're not asking to be raped. You're never asking for it. They just shouldn't touch you. I know our local school here, our high schools don't require you to wear uniforms. It's just the elementaries and the middle schools. And they had a big blowout a couple of years ago about how your collarbone couldn't be showing because it enticed the boys. And it's like, okay, well then what about them in their muscle shirts or their shirts that are, too small, but they still wear them? Your muscles are giving me, wicked thoughts. It goes both ways, but it's just that's not how a lot of the situations end up coming across. It's always the girl's fault, and that needs to change. Let's see. Here's another one. This is from page 30. Let's see. Instead of laughing like I expected her to do, she gave me an understanding look. No, you're heartbroken. Maybe she understood a little better than I thought. This class, are you going to teach them to actually fight, or will it be just be things like blowing whistles and sticking people with keys? This one is about police officer that was on the case for Magda. She decided to create a class where she was going to teach girls about self-defense. And Hadley wants to know, like, is it just going to be, about, like, the keys and stuff like that? Because Magda had taken one of those classes and it had done her absolutely no good. I'm going to kind of cut out a lot of the cuss words that are in this. There might be a little bit of whistles and keys, but we'll be teaching them to fight and to fight dirty. We're talking forcing testicles to retract, that kind of fighting. For the first time in months, a genuine smile curled my lips. I'm in. Because this I really liked because, fighting dirty, we have nails and stuff like that. And a lot of women, wear heels. Heels can be a very good weapon for your use. I mean, you can keep them on, you can take them off. They make a very good weapon, especially if they're spiked heels. Use the things that are around you. You don't just have to rely on your voice or crying rape or any of like those things, which of course most classes will tell you don't scream rape, scream fire. Nobody comes to help a rape victim. Everybody comes to see something burn down to the ground, unfortunately. Let's see. This is another one. I don't know what page this is on. My fingers tightened around my fork. Her words, so stupid and careless, made me remember what I'd said to Magda. This is about her mother. That about being punished for making a mistake. She hadn't done anything wrong. No, those boys ought to have known better than to drug and rape a girl. Hadley, don't you say it. Don't you dare say it. I don't understand how she could think it, let alone believe it. I knew, however, that my mother wasn't the only woman to think that Magda had asked for what had happened to her. Hell, even I had thought it once or twice. God, I wish I could take it back, because that guilt was a weight I'd carry the rest of my life. Even if I'd walked into school stark naked with a box of condoms and a bottle of lube, I should not be asking to get raped. And that was the conversation with her mother. And Hadley's right. You should be able to wear whatever you want. Personally, I think, yes, you can wear whatever you want, but you should have more respect for your body than some of these people that I see when we go to Universal and stuff, I'm sorry. I weigh almost like 280 pounds. I'm at like 274, and I still wear clothes that fit me. Granted, you're not asking to be raped, but still you should have respect for your own body. Don't wear clothes that are 3 sizes too small. Leggings are meant to be covered with a long shirt or a skirt, something like that, and make sure they're the right size. If you put them on and you can see your skin underneath them, go up a size or 2, because you're not respecting your own body. Why should you expect somebody else to respect it as well? Let's see. The next one, I don't know what page this is from. Let's see. This was actually something funny that was in the book. The book, even though it was about, the rape of a friend who committed suicide and the girl who decided to avenge her, it did have a couple of pretty funny situations. This one is about Gabe and Hadley, which Gabe was Magda's older brother, and he's like, no, you can't do that. If you walk in there, the 4 of them, of course the guys that raped her friend, their friends will jump you, and that my odds of not being raped are significantly higher than yours. And I thought that was really kind of funny. Let's see. This one was one that I shared about 4 hours ago. And then I posted to it saying that her mom just doesn't understand. You should be able to walk down the street naked and not be able to be messed with, which is what I said before. And that you should be able, you have a right to wear what you want. Let's see. She gave me, okay, let's see. They shouldn't have raped her. I corrected. It wasn't her fault. It was theirs. She gave me a pitying look. I'd never wanted to punch my mother in the face until that very moment. Every girl knows the risks. Magda must have known what they wanted from her. Look how short her skirt was. If she went with him, of course, he'd think she wanted sex. So what if she did? I challenged. It doesn't mean she wanted to have sex with all of them. Let's see. I lost my place. I got a message from Twitter. Okay, yeah, she didn't mean that she wanted to have sex with all of them. Mom, Jesus. Her lips thinned. There are consequences, Hadley. There are always consequences for everything we do. I'm not saying that Magna deserved what happened, but some of the responsibility of it falls on her shoulders. I stared at her. Was she really that stupid? My God, she was only in her 30s. Whoop, my screen went black. Okay, it's still recording. And that just goes into about her and her mom and her dad and stuff. But responsibility-wise, yes, Magda should have been more responsible. But I mean, they were 15, 16 years old. Teenagers are stupid. You know, I'm sorry to say it, but, you know, a lot of teenagers are stupid. My 13-year-old is stupid for some things, but responsibility goes both ways about, like, what I had stated before, you know, that yes, Magna shouldn't have gone off alone, but in retrospect, she was drugged. You know, she was not in the right mind to make a choice on whether or not if she intentionally wanted to go or not. Towards the end of the book, Hadley actually sees it happening with Drew and like everything from start to finish. Not him drugging her, the girl's already drugged, but really, she really gets to see the actual events kind of like leading up to what he does to these girls. And so I think that really, as a reader, you know, really shows you how much, you know, Magda didn't really have a choice in the matter at all. Let's see, this is another one. This I really liked. I know a couple months ago this was on the news stating that bars now have like a code word that if you order this specific drink, if you feel threatened or you're in a situation where you don't feel safe, you can order this specific drink. I don't remember what drink it is, but then the bartender will help you out of the situation, which is really nice. Haley wants to start something called the Girlfriend Watch, which is basically just a list of phone numbers where that if you're at a party or out somewhere and you don't feel safe or a guy is bothering you or something, or you get, you know, drunk off your butt even though you're not supposed to be drinking, being a teenager, have to put that one in there, that you can call somebody on the list and then they can come and help you, which I really like that. I think more high schools and colleges and communities need to have something like that, just for the fact that, I mean, so much of middle school and high school is all just nothing about, you know, kids going at it with social things and peers and all that bullying crap, and they really need to open their eyes and realize, you know, there's more to life than bullying, you know, a student. You know, people get injured, people get hurt, and people get raped and stuff. I mean, so many things have been happening over the course of the last couple of years that our society needs to change. And our kids need to grow up a lot faster than what they really needed to. Let's see. I'm just like going down my list here. Let's see. All right. This is a speech that the detective came to their school. And I posted this on Instagram saying that this really needs to be, I would love to see this on like a billboard or pamphlets or something. This, even if it is fiction, this is what the Detective Davis had stated to an assembly at their school. And she said, somebody who has been raped has been through a traumatic event. I've known women who have PTSD from their attack who take years to recover. Those lives have been ruined. Do you want to be the person responsible for that? You aren't stupid. You know what no means. And if someone is too drunk to say no or passed out, that is automatically a no. If you are found guilty of rape, you go to prison. Where you might well or very well become a victim of sexual assault yourself. By the same token, I want to imagine the worst thing that has ever happened to you. Now imagine that everyone in this room knows about it, but instead of giving you sympathy and support, they're laughing at you and leaving messages on your social media of what happened was all your fault. And she goes into stating about, like, you know, if you had cancer, you know, whose fault is it? Is it your fault that you have cancer? And then she also goes into a thing about, you know, say that she took her gun out and she shot somebody in the head there. you know, whose fault would it be? Would it be the person that she shot because they're just in that vicinity, or would it be her fault? And it's like, you know, the same goes with rape. Just because you're raped, it's not your fault that these other people or one person decided to force you into doing something that you either A, said no about, or B, were incapacitated and couldn't have a say in it. You know, it same goes with that. But unfortunately, that's not how our society works, even though it should. Let's see. I'm going to go look over here on the ones on Twitter. There's not that many of them. Let's see. Let's see, that one I think I already talked about. Same with that one. Let's see. She also had stated, this is from the same thing, the best way to prevent sexual assault or rape is just not to rape or assault anybody, which really, it's really basically what comes down to it. See, that's the same thing. Right, so that is all of them that I had shared. Towards the end of it, it kind of got really, really involved, so I stopped sharing as much. But I guess there's not that many spoilers in here. I am going to end up talking about the end of the book, so now will be the time that if you don't want to know what happens, run away. run away. You don't want to know. Towards the end of the book, the 4 boys that accosted Magda, they end up getting Hadley in the cemetery where Magda's buried, and they end up breaking her nose, and things kind of escalate from there, that she kind of figures out, you know, that all of the vengeance and the revenge, you know, hasn't exactly been for Magda herself, but it's been for, like, everybody. I really liked that in this, I don't really condone violence, especially the ending of this book, which I'll talk about in a minute, but it just shows you, like, how much one small act of revenge can spiral into something ugly and just so large that you didn't see it coming. And the ending of this, I didn't see this coming. I thought that maybe she was going to have one of the other girls in the self-defense class pretend to get raped or something, and they were going to send Drew to jail. I didn't see coming what happened. So here I'll do this. So here this is where spoilers come in. So here, that's spoilers. I'll do that again when I'm done, if you guys stick around. But at the end of the book, as I stated before, Hadley goes to the end of another Halloween party. So it's been about a year, and since the first rape occurred, and she goes there with the intention, of course, to finish out her vengeance and revenge on the 4 boys. And she decides that if by midnight, if she hasn't figured out what to do to Drew, she's just going to leave. And she's getting ready to text Gabe, who's waiting for her down the street because he has a restraining order. Drew has a restraining order against him, so he couldn't go with her to the party. She sees Drew take this other girl up the stairs, and you can tell that she's off her gourd. She's been drugged, of course, and she, you know, was talking about that she needs to lay down, and he's like, you know, well, you'll be on your back here pretty soon. And she kind of goes through her head, like, you know, what she should do, and you really have to feel for her because she's kind of at the end of her rope. I think she should have texted the other girls, but I think that she was kind of smart not to, because she wasn't sure what kind of weapons that he had, which in turn he ended up having a gun, which I think why he had a gun is beyond me. But he's a rich kid, one of those rich kids who could basically get away with anything. But so this is why I don't do review videos, because I'm doing all the time. Wanted to get this done before I go to bed, but she decides to go up, and And let's see if I can find it here. All right, so Alright, so I slipped my phone back in my bag, no pockets on a Harley Quinn costume. If I hadn't got the chance to get to Drew by midnight, I'd just leave. It wasn't like I was in the party mood. Not really. I just kept thinking about the year before and Magda. I could almost see her standing there in her Cleopatra costume. She looked awesome. Do you think Drew will like it? He'd be dead not to, I'd replied. God, I'd been so indifferent about him then. I seriously hadn't thought he was a threat to her, even though we'd both heard rumors about him over the years. Magnus sure assumed it was gossip and nothing more. Were any of the girls there previous victims of his? Had they come just so they could stand up to him, face him, unafraid? Did they wonder if anyone would ever stop him? Did they wish they'd reached out to Magda? Right, so she's of course at the party. Let's see if I can find it here. Right, so this at 10 to midnight, I decided to call it a night. I had just come out of the bathroom down the hall from the party and was about to text Gabe to pick me up at the bottom of the driveway when I spotted Drew climbing the winding staircase. He had a girl with him, a very drunk, very young girl. I had to stop it. I put my phone back in my bag. I waited a few moments, trying to keep my heart rate calm. Then I made sure no one was looking, and I followed them. Drew took the girl to his room. I could see them from where I crouched in the shadows near the top of the stairs. The girl staggered on her high heels, falling against him. He grinned down at her and ran his hand over her ass. I just need to lie down. Yeah, you'll be on your back real soon. Just a couple of minutes and you can sleep. This entire book of everything that had happened with Drew, I mean, it just kind of irks me because there are people out there that constantly get away with stuff. There was a guy that raped somebody a while back ago, and I know it was all over Twitter, and they were talking about like his swimming record and all this stuff, and it's like, who cares? You know, he raped somebody. But that's how it is. If you're in the public eye and you have money coming out your bahookie, you know, there are a lot of situations that, you know, money gets you out of it, unfortunately. And that shouldn't be the way that it is. But in the end of this, he ends up accosting her, and they go through a fight, and somehow the gun gets pointed in his direction. It goes off, and she's there, and she sees the light go out of his eyes, and he dies. And of course, after that, the book really gets summed up pretty quickly within, I think, a couple of pages or so about the whole fallout of it, her getting kicked out of school and having to finish her senior year online, and the defense class just explodes, and they have to add an extra class and an adult class, and her mom, you know, kind of, you know, wakes up from, I guess, her stupor or something that she's been in and stuff, and just things really start getting going forward, actually, you know, because now she not only has to deal with the death of her friend, now she has to deal with that she accidentally took somebody's life. And although Drew will never be able to hurt anybody again, I still would have preferred just to see him in jail. I think him dying at the end of the book was kind of extreme, but it does show you how one small act of revenge, where she writes rapist on the first guy's forehead in lipstick and takes a photo of it with him passed out on the bed and sends it to his own social media, which I thought that was a really amazing touch. Katie, by the way, that was awesome, posting it to their social media with their own cell phones. Yeah, that was ingenious. But escalating it from that to all the way up to basically accidental murder, you know, oh my goodness. Just really goes to show you how much something can spiral out of control, where you just have no control over it all anymore. I did like the parts of this book where other girls started standing up for themselves as well as other people. And it really shows you how even when she's just walking to meet Gabe at a pizza joint, and there's these people trying to rape this girl, and she comments about it, like she can't just have, one night when she's not actually actively looking for trouble, she finds it or it finds her. And it just goes to show you like how much, disgusting and evil there is in the world, that even if you're not looking for it, or if you do look for it, you will find it. It is there. You see it all the time about things going on. I know there was a part of this that really made me cry. I don't remember what part of it that it was. Oh, that's right. It was about the day that Magda died, where Hadley was with her at a party, and Magda went off with Drew, of course, and she was upset, so she decided to go have, she called it spiteful sex. Spiteful sex with some foreign exchange student, so of course she blamed herself that she wasn't there for Magda, because I guess apparently people had stated that Magda had called out for her name, and of course she was outside, so she didn't hear it. And it just goes show you like how much guilt that was on Hadley's shoulders because she wasn't there for her friend. And there was also a part in this that it was talking about like leading up to suicide. Sometimes there aren't any signs, and sometimes there aren't. I know that I've told people this before, that back in 2008 or 2009, during the month of my birthday, I attempted to take my own life. Back in 2009, I was just done. Nobody knew it. It wasn't something that I had planned throughout the day or anything. It's just something that happened over the course of 3 or 4 hours. I was just done with life. I was just completely done with everybody's bullshit. I was done with my family. I was done with my friends that had completely abandoned me earlier that day. And I was just done. I was just fed up with everything. And reading about Magda in this, about how I've never been sexually assaulted in that way. I was molested 3 times growing up. One was my mother's boyfriend, and that was when I was 11. That I kind of know how she feels, and just how you feel that there's nobody to really turn to, and that nobody understands how you feel, and how the events that led up to you wanting to just be completely done with everything, and how that affects you and those around you. And I think the story could have only been better if we would have gotten point of views from Magda's, to really understand what she was going through. I think that would have been really interesting, because we kind of get both past and present clips leading up to her being raped. And I think that would have been really interesting to be able to explore within this book, about Magda's point of view and what she really had gone through and how she actually felt. I think that would have been a really interesting point of view to be able to read from. Because this is primarily just from Hadley's point of view, and how everybody else was affected after the rape happened with Magda, and how after she committed suicide, about everybody that survived. Like her mother was constantly crying, and her sister, who was now 13, was afraid of boys. And it really just gets to the point where you just don't know who to trust anymore. I know a lot of this stated, like how boys and some women, that you just don't know if you found a good one or not. And it's like you don't know until you're put into that type of situation. But this was an amazing book. I know that I have told you guys the ending of this, but I hope you guys still read it. It's an amazing book. My daughter, Endy, is actually going to be reading this starting tomorrow. She's never been in any type of situation like this, but I know that she's going to probably enjoy this book, and that I think it will give her a lot of eye-opening aspects for her to think about. And I think this book should be required reading for those in around 8th grade as well as high school. I think that if both boys and girls, women and men, if they are more aware of what's going on and what can happen to you, even if you think that it can't, that everybody would be better prepared for these types of situations. I do think one of the major things that they should have talked about in the defense class, because they constantly talked about it, was about fighting off more than one attacker at one time. That wasn't something that was mentioned in their self-defense class at all. But Gabe and I think a couple other people constantly talked about if all 4 boys would gang up on Hadley at once, which actually did happen, and she got her nose broken for it. And who knows what would have happened if the police officer hadn't showed up. But sorry, guys. I really think that should have been something that was mentioned in this. So that is definitely something that if you are in a an attack class type thing, a self-defense class, I'll get to it sooner or later, that is something that I would definitely bring up about, because sometimes it's not one-on-one. Sometimes it's way more than one-on-one. And that happens a lot in, gang rapes and stuff like that. That it's not, you're just not fighting off of one person, you're fighting off multiple. So it would be a good idea to know how to get out of that type of situation. But one of the biggest things that I would say that that they stated in this, of course, if you're going to go out to a party, drink responsibly if you're going to drink. Don't drink to excess. Know your limits. Make sure that if you are drinking, not just knowing your limits, but, drink a glass of alcohol or something, and then drink a glass of water, and then eat something. Wait at least 2 hours before you have your next physical alcoholic drink, because that gives your body time to break it all down where you're not completely blackout drunk. Because at that point, you have no chance if somebody decides to do something. The other thing, of course, is don't let your drink sit. I know there's a lot of bars. I know there was one up in Ohio. It was like a wings place that you weren't allowed to take your drink to the bathroom. They had signs up everywhere. So if you needed to go to the restroom and you didn't have somebody with you to watch your drink, the best thing to do is either don't go to the bathroom until you're done drinking, or give it to the bartender. Let them know you're going to the restroom, and then you can leave your glass with them, which is somebody that you should be able to trust. I know there's been movies and stuff out where like the bartender is in on it, but hopefully for the most part that's not true. And the bartender is, actually looking out for you. Another thing is, of course, if you're a teenager and you're at a home party or something, always make sure that you get never get a glass. Always get like a sealed bottle of soda or sealed beer, whatever you're happening to be drinking that night. Don't drink anything that anybody physically hands you. I know a few people that even in this, they brought drinks with them. They brought water, because then exactly what's in it. Because there's so many, the HBG, drug rape, or my brain is so dead right now. The date rape drug, and what is it, the roofies and all of that. And it's like, it's undetectable until it's in your system. And then your body washes it out so fast that once it's gone, it's gone. And the last thing I want to say, that if you have been, or you find yourself in this situation that you have been raped, go directly to the emergency room. I know that it's going to be hell, and that's all there is to it. There's no way to sugarcoat that. Your life is going to be living hell after it happens, but report it. don't let the people that done this to you win, because although they might get away with it, there's a good chance they won't. If they used a condom, if the condom's still there, wrap it up in a towel or something, take it with you. There's ways that they can do forensic evidence or something and match that to what's inside your body. Don't take showers before you go to the emergency room, because it washes away all the evidence, and then it's just your word against theirs. And never be afraid. Never be afraid to come forward. I'm gonna post this. This is posting tomorrow morning. I actually did this last night, but I want to be able to add the phone numbers to the suicide hotline as well as a couple of others. So you will find those links and phone numbers below. I'm always available on social media. If you need to chat anytime, hit me up. I'm always available to talk to you. My phone is always by me. It's like 2 inches from my head. All my messaging things are open as well, so anybody can message me. I think that's about everything. I think there was one other thing that I wanted to say, but I don't remember what it was. Well, if I remember it, I'll toss it down in the description of this video. I want you all you guys to have a wonderful night, and I really, really hope that you and people that you know are never in a situation that Hadley and Magda found themselves in, or that I found myself in when I was younger. And I hope you guys really do check out this book. It was an amazing, amazing story that I'm really excited to have a signed copy of it. I'm going to be adding a giveaway to my review post for this. It will be up here, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks. So please enter, and I'm going to go take a shower and go to bed now, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. And yeah, I'll be doing a mail haul tomorrow and stuff, so I will catch you guys then. I'm gonna go to sleep because my husband's passed on the other side of the computer. So everybody be safe, and I will catch you guys later.